finally getting around to getting out this Snyder Cut video. And just real quick, I wanted to tell you what happened. I actually had this done a couple of days ago. And due to some technical issues going on inside of my video capture and encoding software, I didn't realize till I went back the next day to actually get this stuff into Adobe Premiere and start cutting the edit and finishing it and rendering it and getting it on YouTube that half the frames had been dropped. It was a total mess. So now I'm going back. I'm having to redo the work I did a day or two ago, finally getting time to do it again. So anyway, here we go. Glad you're here. And before we get started, please don't forget, and I gotta remember to do this more in these videos, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure you share this out there on Twitter and Facebook or whatever you care to, if you like it, of course, and if you do, I appreciate it. Either way, I appreciate you guys being here, the channel growth. I know it seems small now, but I guess, for being on here, I think today is actually my 2-month anniversary of YouTube, believe that. We're almost at 200 subs, it's pretty cool. So anyway, here we go. I was not a big DCEU fan. I never was, with the exception of, well, let me put it this way. I was, in many regards, like I loved the old original Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I loved the first 2 Tim Burton Batman movies, Batman and Batman Returns. And then the Christopher Nolan Batman movies were just absolutely amazing. And I think they were probably the 3 of the best for sure, superhero movies. I think certainly had, next to the entirety of like Iron Man's massive story arc in the Infinity War saga over the course of 12 or 13 years, I really enjoyed the story arc of that Batman and that whole series. Of course, Heath Ledger's Joker, all that. That all seemed to go out the window for me after that. When they said, oh, we're going to reboot this and reboot that. And the words reboot, it just instantly makes me cringe. And I think it makes a lot of you guys cringe too, because we all see what happens when they reboot this stuff half the time. It turns into absolute hot shit. So anyway, Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, never saw them in the theaters. Really didn't give a damn about them. Did see them on Blu-ray after that, and it was meh. It was a big meh fest for me. The kids didn't want to go see Justice League. My son did, at least, but I think my girls came with us too, and the 4 of us went to go see it together. And we just kind of walked out of there, didn't care. It was, there was some cool action scenes and some of the fight scenes, but my God, the CGI was terrible. It looked like a 2008 PlayStation video game for Steppenwolf, and it just looked like everything was rushed and screwed up, and it was a narrative mess. The pacing was terrible. It was just a bad movie. It had, and this is a measure of movies for me, it had absolutely no rewatchability. None whatsoever. It was like, I felt like I'm never going to get this 2 hours of my life back. I'm never going to get this $80 back, or probably $100 with food and four people and 4 movie tickets. I'm never going to get this back. And it was just awful. And the box office numbers bore that out. It was a big flop. And it's hard to say that a movie that grosses almost $700 million globally is a flop. But financially, it was a flop. Was what it was, because they spent so much money not only shooting, but reshooting, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, restore the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut. This thing begins. And I wasn't that enamored with it, at first, because I'm like, why? What is it going to do? Well, the long and short of it was, there's a lot of people on YouTube that I admire and respect. I'm members of their channels, or watch their channels, or sub to their channels, and they're big Snyder Cut guys. And I said, you know what? When I saw it was actually happening, I said, you know what? I want to get in on this. I'm going to support this. Not because I really wanted to see it, but because I wanted to support the fact that a bunch of real paying fans got together and made this happen. And I think that's outstanding, because it's a solid message to Hollywood. It's a solid message to these studios that you can't just keep farting out the garbage that you do over and over, and especially after the lockdowns that we had last year that shuttered your entire revenue sources. The audiences, I think, are tired of it. We're tired of getting piles of crap after piles of crap, and then just out of almost habit too many people just walking into the theater, plopping the money down, and then just, yeah, was that good? Yeah, no, it wasn't that good. Or, meh. And then you do it all over again. Now, this time, hopefully it's going to be different. Because if it can happen over there at Warner, it can happen other places too. Places run by Kathy Kennedy. So, more on that in another video. Anyway, so along comes the Snyderverse thing. And you know what? I got excited for it, and I watched it. I watched it last weekend, or it was the weekend, was it last weekend? Whatever the weekend it was, it came out. Busy time of year for Valiant Renegade. Forgetting what day it is half the time. But I watched 4 hours of it, and I said, oh my gosh, this is so much better. It was so much. I actually enjoyed really the entire 4 hours of it, maybe with the exception of that epilogue scene and the Joker doing the reach around joke. Could have done without that. Okay. And I know some people say, the slow-mo stuff. Yes, I think the slow-mo was overused. I think it was overused to a point. It took away from when it was really good to use it, like with The Flash. And I still don't understand the 4:3 aspect ratio. I know that was supposed to be some artistic decision on the part of Snyder, but I don't get what the artistic decision was. I mean, to me, honestly, Snyder didn't make a penny off of this, right? He put all the money into the ground on this. So my thought process was perhaps he made a decision to cut out of roughly 40% of the screen area to a 4:3 old square television shape, right? Probably saved a few $1,000,000 on not having to do CGI VFX in post-production in that 40% of the screen area that was now gone. And he was able to concentrate it on that center 60%. And maybe that's what got Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf looks so much better. Anyway, bottom line is this. I really enjoyed it. Narratively, it was good. It should have been 2 movies to begin with. I guess Warner Brothers felt like they didn't want to do that. I wish they would have. They shot the damn thing. Who cares if they released it in 1 punch or 2? Release it in 2 punches, you get twice the tickets, right? It's worked for most other well-made movies that have happened that way, right? Whether they're 2-part, 3-part, whatever. But they didn't have a well-made movie on their hands the first time, at least with the final release of the Whedon Cut. That did not go over well. Well, the Snyder Cut is obviously doing pretty well, at least for HBO Max, and it's a good measure. But from a narrative standpoint, I actually cared about the characters now. I cared about Cyborg. Ezra Miller wasn't annoying as hell as the Flash. There was so much more depth. The pacing was so much better. I will go back and I will watch this movie a second time. I will. I don't think the kids have watched it yet. My son might have snuck out and watched it at some point. But I know he wants to see it. But it's 4 hours long, but you can take it in pieces. But I will watch this movie again. Whereas the first one, I couldn't have cared less about after that thing. So here we go to Forbes, and let's talk about what this means going forward. Because, the pushback from Warner Brothers, they didn't want to put this movie out. They don't want Zack Snyder coming back having anything to do with DC. You got J.J. Abrams coming in with a $500 million contract with Warner Studios to basically helm the big budget theatrical releases, I would assume ostensibly, going forward for the DCEU. Okay, whatever. Yeah, nothing bad has ever happened when J.J. Abrams takes over a major franchise, right? So yeah, good luck with that. But there's no reason they can't have the Snyder stuff in there too. Everybody's doing the multiverse shit. Let Snyder have his. And at the end of the day, it comes down to AT&T. Guys like John Stankey, the CEO, executive chairman, I believe as well, of AT&T, who owns Warner's ass. They made the Snyder Cut happen, and they can make the Snyderverse happen. So you can go barking to Warner Studios all you want. Tell it to AT&T, because that's who can make it happen. And it looks to be like there's some merit here. So they had a record pop, and I'm not going to go through this entire thing, obviously. There's too much time. They had a record pop in new downloads of HBO Max apps on phones and mobile devices. They had a record of logins. They had seemingly a record or near record of a couple of days worth of pop of new subs, new subscriptions. And those would be paying subscriptions. It's not like, AT&T was giving away HBO Max with a new purchase of every AT&T phone or activating a new line, which they did for a while, right? I think they might still be doing that. So those, yeah, you've got subscribers in that case, but these are not active paying subscribers. They were just getting it as a bonus. These are actually people that willingly walked in the door, opened their wallet, put the credit card on the table and said, sign me up, right? I want to see the Snyder Cut. That's got to continue for them. But I think numbers like that, and when you consider 2.2 or 2.5 million unique views of the Snyder Cut, which is great. And again, if you compare it to something like views on Netflix or views on Disney Plus, it sounds not that great. It beat Falcon and the Winter Soldier, though. Ha! Another video. But when you consider how much smaller a subscriber base HBO Max is, especially active subscribers, like subscribers that actually are taking money out of pocket, not people, like I said, free phone subscriptions and all that kind of stuff, it's actually pretty impressive. So it should be giving AT&T a message, and to the fans out there, great job. Great job. It was worth the push. This movie was so much better, and I'm glad that it happened, because I actually am looking forward to what else, hopefully, Snyder will be doing with DCEU. And I know the first couple of movies he did weren't big hits, Man of Steel and all that, Batman, Superman. But it looks bright from here. I mean, I've liked Zack Snyder's past work, so I want to see more good stuff from him. I really do. Anyway, I am going to see Kong vs. Godzilla tonight. Put out a short earlier. Something weird with YouTube. It loaded twice. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but it loaded up twice somehow. I don't know what it did. But I don't want to pull one of them down now, because the last time I pulled a video, it absolutely murdered me on YouTube algorithms for like a week. It was atrocious. But anyway, no spoilers. Don't tell me what's going on with that, please. I've been avoiding HBO Max like the plague for the last 24 hours. I want to see it on the big screen. I'm going to see it at a movie tavern in my area tonight. I want to support those smaller theater chains, and they food's great, the service is great. My son and I are going to go see it, so might see a reaction video with no spoilers, but you might see a reaction video from me tonight in the car when I get out the theater. And Renegade Jr. just might be in that video with Daddy Renegade here. So stay tuned for that. But that's it today. That's it. I'm going to try to get to these other videos that I lost in the ether, thanks to my bad encoding. But again, in the meantime, share this video out if you like it. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Help me grow the channel. I appreciate all of you guys being here. I appreciate all of your support so far. Stay tuned, because there will be more coming in days ahead from Valiant Renegade. Take care.